Hi there, this is Steve, and this is a series of videos designed to help you do better on your next Excel interview. And the primary focus of this series is to basically teach you the answers to common Excel interview questions and teach you to be better at Excel on those specific topics so that when you go for an interview, whether you're taking a test or whether you're speaking to an individual, or both, you'll have the skills and knowledge and vocabulary to be able to sound professional, sound like you know what you're talking about, and actually know what you're talking about. So the focus of most of the videos is on a specific subject within Excel that you need to know. And so you can jump around through the videos if you have a lot of experience at Excel and just need to brush up. If you're newer to Excel or have never had a job in Excel, it's probably better to watch them chronologically so you'll get the most out of it. And then in this video, I'm going to take a couple of minutes to just give you some basically like job interview tips that I've learned over the years that I want to pass on to you. And I really want to give you two tips that are based on the psychology of people who hire or hiring managers. And the first one is hiring managers want to hire someone that they want to work with and that other people at the job want to work with. And that may sound obvious at first, but it's really important to understand that likability and your connection with the boss or the hiring manager is the most important part of your interview. And of course, that covers almost everything about the interview, from the way that you dress to the way that you smile, to the way that you greet them, your handshake, eye contact, whether you have a sense of humor, whether you have a sense of sincerity and care about your work and about the people in your workplace. And their impression of you regarding those things are all things that you have control over, which is really powerful in the interview process. So spend some time next time you have a job interview thinking about what the culture is at the job that you want and thinking about who that person might want to work with. And the beauty of that is, of course, your skills and your knowledge are important because you're probably not going to get an engineering job if you have an art degree. But beyond that, if you have the base skills, and sometimes even if you don't, if you have the right personality and you can connect with the hiring manager or whoever is hiring you on a personal level and make them like you, you have a much better chance of getting a second interview or getting hired. So that's the first thing. The second thing to keep in mind is that hiring managers or bosses don't want to make hiring mistakes. And what I mean by that is they don't want to hire the wrong person. So your job in the interview is to convince them that you will not be a mistake. What do I mean by that exactly? Well, as someone who's managed quite a number of people over the years, I can tell you that when you hire the wrong person, you have set yourself up for a nightmare as a boss, because then you have to figure out a way to either fix that person, which is usually impossible, or you have to figure out a way to get them out of your company so they're not ruining things for you. And that is much harder to do than hiring the right person in the first place. But most hiring people have a little bit of fear around this. A lot of the time, as a manager, you will interview 40 different people, and at the end of those 40, you still wish there was one more person that could convince you that they deserve the job. Because there are a lot of people who don't interview well, that just aren't promising candidates for the job. And so your job as the interviewee is to convince the boss that they won't regret hiring you. And this is actually easier than it sounds. The first part is, of course, going back to number one, just be likable, because they're more inclined to be like, well, this is someone I can get along with. This is someone who I could teach. This is someone who I could communicate with. This is someone who's going to respond to feedback and will grow as a person. And that's really valuable. You have to convince them and show them that you are someone who can evolve with a job, someone who can be trained, someone who is adaptable, Those are really important things. But I will say one of my biggest strategies, and I have gotten some jobs that I was not qualified for in the past, and the number one secret that I did was I told the boss in the interview, I said, I will work harder than you've ever seen anyone work for this job, and I will not let you down. And that sounds a little weird, and it sounds like a lot to promise, and it is, but if you really want that job, and it's that important to you, then you will do that. And if someone hears that, 9 times out of 10, that's going to jump you up several notches in their book. If they had any doubts, you've just done a lot to give them a chance to let those doubts go, because you're telling them that you're going to kill yourself to do the job the way it should be done. And like I say, that line by itself has gotten me several jobs that I was not at all qualified for. But when I said that line, I could see the haze clear from the interviewer's eyes, and I could see a shift in their demeanor. And then they started asking me new and different questions, and they became much more interested in me as a prospective employee, because I was showing them and demonstrating them that I had a confidence that even though I didn't have the education or I didn't have the experience, that I was willing to learn, that I was willing to grow, and that I would do whatever it took to succeed at the job. And in the end, I got the job. So those are my 2 biggest tips. If you just sit down and think about those 2 things every time you go into an interview, you'll probably do way better than you've ever done in an interview. But when it comes to specifically an Excel-related job, whether it's in business or finance or engineering or whatever it is that's related to Excel, if you follow through with these videos, your actual technical understanding of Excel will be much better, and your ability to speak intelligently about Excel will be much better. And if you combine that with some quality interview skills and good presentation skills, you're going to be in good shape. So thanks for being here. I'm excited to teach you all this stuff, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll dive right into actually talking about some Excel skills.